Hello everyone and welcome back to the ROKER RAPPORT Player Ratings podcast. I'm Anthony Waterson and we've just come off a weird and wild and ridiculous game, to be honest, against Accrington. We've drew 3-3 somehow, and to digest and go through that, first I have Niall Bromley. How are you doing, mate?
I don't know how I'm doing, if I'm being honest. I don't really know how I feel right now. But I'm annoyed, which I'm sure we'll get into, and maybe have a bit of a rant shortly. But yeah, is what it is, isn't it? Somehow.
It's just good Sunderland, man. It's Sunderland. Good old Sunderland. I mean, I'm blaming our Irish counterpart Michael for all this, saying it was all over after 10 minutes, but and we've also got Chris from Sheffield. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm not bad, mate. I mean, I just wish I was in neutral watching that, because I bet you would have been a good game if you weren't bothered.
Oh, you'd be pissing yourself laughing at some of the defending, I suppose, but we'll get into all that.
Like later on, you'd be like kind of oohing and ahhing, because anyone could have nicked that last 5 minutes, couldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, the midfield just completely... There was no midfield in the last 10, 15 minutes, was it? It was just forwards and attack.
Oh, it was basketball, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. As you say, for an advert for football, it was a great game, but for us Sunderland fans, I'm afraid, that's it for as far as automatic promotion's concerned. Hull have gone up, and Peterborough need a point, so, you know, we're again another season of if we make it to the playoffs. So we'll quickly wrap into the 3-word review. There's some pretty bad ones, as you would expect. We've got Martin Wonders from ourselves. Playoffs it is. Ross Robson, Lee Johnson out. I think that's very harsh, but hey-oh. Richards drop Lee Burge. Okay. Neil Macbeth season ends clearance. He's got a fair point. Then Ian Dennell, League One forever. God, please not. No, can't be done with this. Peter Higgins couldn't handle pressure. And that's what I will touch on that one first, Niall, because again, it's like, it's happened every season where we're getting ourselves into a position where we're looking as if we're going to push on, and then seem to just go on a run of form where we do kind of not handle any pressure. You know, as soon as the pressure's on us, we just crumble.
Yeah, I've kind of felt like for a long, long time. It always feels like when Sunderland are on the brink of the top two, like if we need to get a result, or if we need other teams to drop points, it never happens, and we never seem to creep into them top two places. And I think if it was gonna happen at any time in the 3 seasons we've been in League One, it would have been this season, because of how we played and the run we went on and the clean sheets we were keeping and the goals we were scoring. But it never quite happened, and it just seems to have affected the players. And I just think that Oxford game was key for me, because it was it was a nitty-gritty game. We got the win. It was very dramatic. And then we hear that Hull and Peterborough both score last-minute goals, and I think it just feels like it knocked us for 6. It really does, and it just seems like every time we're nearly there, we just can't convert it. And that's happened again this season. And now it's, I wasn't expecting to go on a 5-game streak of not winning. I was definitely not expecting 3 of those to be defeats in a row, especially away to Wigan. But like you said, it's gone a little bit more dramatically this time, hasn't it? The kind of the explosion, and it hurts, but like you say, we'll probably playoffs. I mean, and we need to handle that pressure, and Lee Johnson needs to get that sorted pretty quickly, because nobody wants another year in this league. And at the minute, if you speak to any Sunderland fan, I doubt there's many that think that we're going to get out of it this season, and it hurts, because it did feel like we were going to. I mean, not that long ago, 2 weeks ago. So yeah, it is what it is, but hopefully Johnson can sort the pressure thing out.
Chris, we've gone from being one of the tightest defences at the start of the season, pretty much over Christmas time and January and everything, when we weren't conceding. In the last few games, I mean, some of the goals, today with that second one, some of the goals we're conceding are laughable, aren't they? And it's not good enough, really.
Well, it's not, and it's for the last, like you say, for the last few weeks, it seems like individual errors have crept in. Where we weren't having those before, which, Lee Johnson kind of opened us up a little bit compared to what Parkinson was doing, and it relied more then on players not making that big mistake in a game. I don't think it's helped as well, a bit of rotation, whether it's by, Dean Sanderson being injured, which meant we obviously had to bring Bailey Wright in. I think I said this before, but Bailey Wright and Lee Johnson will be the first to admit that Bailey Wright's been brought back too early.
Mm-hmm.
And it's purely because, I mean, if you look at our defenders in the squad, they've played like 14 games a year, 10 games, 15 games. They've played 10 games. It's all kind of, it's been, he's coming in, he's coming out. We've been like a patchwork quilt at the back for most of the season, and Lee Johnson's been trying to manage it. We've been getting away with it because we've been kind of controlling games a bit more. And in the last few games, when things have gone, like we said, like kind of a basketball game, and we're being put under pressure, because Bailey Wright's half a yard off the pace, things have got a bit frantic. We've made individual errors, and O'Nien and Bailey Wright, remember, that they're kind of learning how to play with each other as well. I mean, it's a brand new pairing at the back. They're learning how, what each other does, what positions to take up. And O'Nien's not a defender, so he's learning it all, on the fly. So that there's kind of, there's reasons for it. But we've just got to find a solution. And I think one of the solutions is just going to come naturally, because I think Bailey Wright is just going to get fitter, and at some point he's going to be on it, and he's going to be fully fit for these games. And hopefully that's going to be in the playoffs.
Apparently as well, in Johnson's press conference that he's just given, apparently Deon Sanson says he wants to play, so it looks as if he might be coming back, which for me would be unbelievable. As long as he's fit, obviously. Hopefully he doesn't do anything that would do him long term. We'll go into the game. I mean, after 11 minutes, we were 2-0 up, Niall. I mean, two nice finishes from Charlie White, one a great ball from Lyndon Gooch, and the second one a lovely ball from Aidan McGeady. But Charlie White's now got 30 goals. Wouldn't have give you that to start the season, would you?
No, I don't. I think, everyone's massively surprising. And let's not forget he's had a bit of a goal drought as well, really, hasn't he? I think he went, I think he's only scored something like 3 goals in 10 now. So considering what it actually could have been, he's had a remarkable season, hasn't he? And I think when, they said it on the commentary, when McGeady's playing well, White plays well. And that seems to be what's happened. And today McGeady had a very good game. Well, first half he did anyway. His tricky footwork, and that was just too much for them. And it's a shame we couldn't capitalise more. But the first goal, great ball in, fantastic header. He's headed at the other side of the keeper when the keeper was diving to his right. He's put it past him the other side, great gliding header. And then the second goal, great run in and great finish as well. So it was, it was all hunky-dory then, wasn't it? And everyone was feeling a lot different to what we're feeling now. But they were 2 very well worked goals, and I thought when they had went in, I thought this is us back to what we were. I think not just me, I think everyone was thinking this would be great for our goal difference. Let's get 5, let's get 6. Obviously, it didn't turn out that way, but that was obviously what the thought that was going through everyone's mind at the time.
It was, I'd never once, after that 11th minute goal, I mean, and like we say, a lot of people's probably got overboard on message boards and everything like that, saying the game was over and stuff, but it just looked as if we were going to win it about 5 or 6-0. But Chris, it went awfully wrong in the second half. We let Accrington back in it, slack defending, I thought, by Bailey Wright and Luke O'Nien for Bishop to score to make it 2-1, and then an absolute horrible own goal where Luke O'Nien's meant to head it back to Lee Burge. Lee Burge come flying out, and it's 2-2 in at the drop of a hat, really. And it was coming though, wasn't it? Like, we just didn't start. We didn't start the second half as well as we started the first, and them 2 errors. It was good. I thought it was happening. I thought it was like an accident waiting to happen, really.
Well, I mean, early on, after the 2 goals, I was writing notes down, and one of the words I used after we got that second goal was clinical. But then after that, I kind of lost count how many times we played a really good ball in across the 6-yard box, and Charlie White was kind of half a yard off it, or Brian was kind of, didn't get up into support, or we just didn't get on the end of it for one reason or another. Well, Brian had that cracking chance as well, just before the half hour, where he kind of went through and hit that tame shot with his left foot. I thought he should have done better there. But yeah, like you said, and it's becoming a bit of a worrying trend. We might come on when we come back to Lee Johnson, but so many times recently that we've gone in at half time looking the better side, and then come out after half time looking a completely different side. And a lot of that's had to do with tempo, especially, if you look in the first half today, really high tempo, high press. We had a plan, knew what we were doing, came out second half, and it was just flat. And it's weird because the more I hear about Lee Johnson, his ex-players say, "Oh, he's fantastic, motivator. He's a good speaker and all this sort of stuff." And I'm not seeing it, to be honest. We're going in at half time and we're coming out looking worse than we went in. And I don't know what the reason is behind that, but yeah, the tempo completely dropped after half time.
Mm-hmm. It did. I mean, we thought we got a winner as well. I'll stay with you with this, Chris. Thought we got the winner with Max Power after a great run from Jack Diamond. I mean, did you think that was it for the game? Think that we'd won it then?
Well, yeah, I was doing the player ratings on the site, and I had the headline all set up that we nicked it at the end and everything. And I had to go back and change it all and everything. But yeah, I mean, if you're playing at home, and the other Grant Ledbetter had come on as well, and I just expected us to, we've been quite good under Lee Johnson in terms of, game management when we've been in those sort of positions. Especially when we went on that winning streak, and I was just disappointed we couldn't manage the game out for the last what was it? Well, 10 minutes if you include injury time. But it's a bit of a worry going into the playoffs because quite often in the playoffs, when it gets nail biting in the second leg or something like that, and you've got to manage a game out. I just hope Lee Johnson gets a handle on this in the last 2 or 3 games.
Yeah. Well, our joy now lasted for around about 2 minutes, and we conceded a bit of a silly free kick on the edge of the box. Nice goal from McConville. Nice, he hit it well, but it's just demoralising, isn't it? I mean, that for me just summed up our last month or so, where it's just been not good enough, really, being a bit poor.
Yeah, I said to you earlier, Accrington and Stanley must be sat on that bus going home tonight thinking, how the fuck have we getting a point out of that? It's literally because it feels like rather than us getting a draw, it feels like we've gifted them a point. That's what it feels like. And yeah, a silly free kick. It's a good strike. He's hit it the only place where it's going to go in. It's gone on the underside of the bar. And hats off, great goal. And I thought he had a good game actually, McConville, along with Phillips for them as well. I thought he was brilliant today. But it's just one of them. So frustrating. As soon as that free kick's given, I'm thinking that's a goal. That's going in. In my head, I'm already telling myself that's going in. And it has. And I mean, it's just demoralising, isn't it? And it's just a story of the form we're in. Yeah, as Chris says, we've got 3 games left now we need at least one win to secure the playoffs, and hopefully it's at Blackpool against Blackpool on Tuesday, because then we've got 2 effectively friendlies. 2 friendlies to get things right. That's what we need to do. Obviously, I don't mean friendlies that didn't go in half-arse. We don't want to do that. I mean, it's games that don't actually matter result-wise, but we need to be finding our best formation. We need to be finding our best way of playing and sticking to it, because as Chris says, the playoffs can be a horrendous, as every Sunderland fan knows, can be a horrendous thing to be in. So we need to be ready for that. And yeah, we can't be conceding silly free kicks like that in the playoffs.
I think we found our best way of playing. That first 10-15 minutes I thought were outstanding, but it's trying to get that for 90 minutes, which I think we've struggled with probably all season.
But as Chris says, we've got this big motivator. I mean, that's what we've all been told. I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts. We've got this massive motivator who can get it. And I'm sorry, but if you're 2-0 up at half time at home to a team who, let's be honest, they're nowhere near as good as you, players wise, they're not. How you can get from that to what happened is just beyond me. So
Lee Johnson's been quite good since he's come in terms of, he took about 10 to 12 games to work us out, work what our problems were, and kind of change our style of play and get us going again. And he seems to be a manager who really focuses on learning from what went wrong, rather than, let's just do the same again. He does change things. He does try different things. So I'd rather him learn these lessons now going into the playoffs than just kind of, stumble through against poor opposition and, then we come unstuck against a good side in the playoffs. So I'd like to think he's learning from these few games, and we go into the playoffs, hopefully better prepared than maybe if we just coasted these last few games.
I totally agree with what you're saying, Chris. I just mean in that game alone. That's what I mean. I don't mean in general. In that game alone, I felt at half time I don't understand what's happened there, that's all. But I am behind Johnson, of course I am. I don't want anyone to think I'm not, because I am. But yeah.
No, we're still behind him, but yeah, it's a you know, I don't want to say it's like a drop in form or whatever, but we've got a chance to put it right at least. We're still there. We're still thereabouts. We've still got a chance of the playoffs. I didn't think we would get that in February. So, trying to turn negative into a positive. But I'm going to turn a lot of negatives now because we're going at the player ratings. I will start with Lee Burge. I've gave Lee Burge a 5. Thought he was actually excellent in the first half. I thought he made a very, very good save when we were 2-0 up off a corner. But then in the second half, I personally think he's at fault for the second goal. He comes rushing out when he doesn't need to. Doesn't give Luke O'Nien any shout or anything like that. And Luke O'Nien's also at fault, but I would say less at fault there. And he's just made it look really, really silly, I think. I think it was a bit harsh with what the lad on Twitter says to drop him, because I think he has been good recently. But yeah, for that is a 5. Niall, I'll start with you with the outfield players. You can have Max Power.
Yeah, it was pretty just what Max Power does. I know he got his goal. But I think in that position, he's kind of the same every time, isn't he? So yeah, I went with a 7 because he got his goal. I think if he hadn't got his goal, he probably would have been a 6. But he, a great run like what he did against Oxford and did well. So I went with a 7 for Max.
No bother at all. Chris, you can have Luke O'Nien, who again also at fault for the second goal.
Yeah, I feel for him. I think he's struggling since he's lost Dion Sanderson alongside him, and he's got Bailey Wright, who I think he's trying to learn how to play alongside Bailey Wright whilst trying to learn how to play centre half. And he looked out of position for their first goal when he got done in behind, and then obviously the own goal. He's just struggling at the minute, and his form's took a dip, and unfortunately he got a 4 today.
Yeah, I'll go with Bailey Wright, and I've gave him a 4. He just isn't fit, and that's all I wrote down on the first half, about as fit as me. I mean, and I'm really unfit at the minute. He is struggling. I thought he showed the attacker far too much room for the first goal as well. I hope he does get fit because we do need him. I think he's a really good defender, but he just needs to. He needs to get match fit as quickly as possible, and quicker than what he is doing at the minute. Niall Denver-Hume, who returned to the start line today instead of Zero McFadden.
Yeah, this is quite a strange one for me, because I've always liked Hume, but I've always thought he could do more, and I've always thought his end product's been poor. But since we've had to deal with McFadden for forever how long, Denver Hume now looks like Roberto Carlos, doesn't he? So it's kind of a strange one. It kind of plays psychological problems we are mine. But yeah, so I've scored him a 7 because I thought he did well. I thought he played a good few balls in. I thought he defended well at times. Yes, he made a couple of mistakes. He gave the ball away a couple of times, but I don't like I say, from what we've had to be dealing with McFadden, I think it's a massive upgrade, and hopefully he stays fit and stays in the team for the playoffs.
Yeah, and you know what, Niall, as well, I think Denver Hume improves Aidan McGeady as well.
Yeah, you're right. He does. I noticed that today,
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I agree with what you're saying there about his crosses. I thought his crossing today was superb, and that's probably his weakest part of his game. I thought his crossing was excellent. Right, Chris, we've got Carl Winchester for you. Mixed bag?
Yeah, definitely. Well, like the rest of the team, really. But started off. He actually won possession for us, really high up for the first goal. Really high pressing. Nicked the ball back, then gave it easy, and we were away. And he was doing that a lot early on. And then, as the minutes ticked by, he just kind of faded. And especially after the break, we just lost control of the midfield completely, and he disappeared, and he got pulled with about 15 minutes left. So he started well, but ended up with a 6.
6, right? Yeah, I've given him exactly a 6. So yeah, I agree with you on that one. I've got Josh Scowen. I had him as a 9 in the first half. I thought he was absolutely outstanding in the first half. I thought he was excellent. He's high pressing. Winning tackles. Getting on the end of headers and everything from the corners. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Second half. The third goal, I think he started off with a superb tackle on the edge of the box, which releases Diamond. But like Winchester, he just got caught in there was no midfield, and it needed someone to put the foot on the ball, and I think Scowen could have done that a little bit better. But I've scored him an 8. I thought he was very good today, to be honest. Right, Niall, Aidan O'Brien.
Yeah, again, a bit of a mixed one. As Chris says, in the first half, he had that chance where he had it on his left foot and he just scuffed it and never really looked comfortable. He had the chance where he kind of got around the keeper as well, didn't he? And it was a bit of a tight angle, like, to be fair to him, but still could have possibly have done better. So again, I went for a 6 for Aidan O'Brien. I thought he was average, to be honest with you. I do like him, to be honest. I used to think he was no good at the start, but he has come into his own a bit. But I think today he could have done better in a few situations, and that chance in the first half alone should have been taken a lot better. So yeah, 6.
I'm still trying to work out what he is, to be honest.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I've been like that all season, to be honest. He doesn't get enough goals for me. Right, Chris, we've got Lyndon Gooch, who I thought was a little bit harshly substituted. I thought, to be honest, thought he was doing well.
Yeah. I thought. Well, it was kind of a victim of kind of what happened to the team, really. Because I mean, he started off absolutely brilliantly. I mean, I was slightly surprised when I first saw the lineup and I saw Jordan Jones on the bench and Lyndon Gooch had kept his place with McGeady coming back. If I kind of expected Gooch to drop to the bench, but to be fair, after the last game, I mean, I think everybody kind of praised Gooch for his effort. I mean, maybe his final ball or whatever, maybe he could have done more improvement, but I thought his effort was absolutely superb last time out, and I think it was quite good that Lee Johnson was a bit kind of loyal to him, keeping him in there. And I just think with Lyndon Gooch, I think it showed what Lyndon Gooch can do when he doesn't run down those blind avenues. Mm-hmm. Like that first goal, when all he did was get half a yard. And the problem, my problem sometimes with Lyndon Gooch is that he doesn't do that enough. He tries to take the player on and then try to take the player on again. He tries to get past the player before he gets the ball into the box. And all he did was just bide his time, get a gap between the two defenders, nick the ball in. And then after that, the amount of times he got the ball in early or first time, and we got a chance off it, or we were close to getting on the end of it. And I think Lyndon Gooch is brilliant. His crosses should have meant that Accrington were out of sight, and we were kind of 3 or 4 up by half time. I thought he was great today.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was very, very harshly treated by getting took off, to be honest.
And I had him as an 8, by the way.
8? Oh, there we go. There we go. Right, Aidan McGeady, I'll have him. He's got a 7.5 for me, and I normally don't give half marks, but I can't give him an 8 for that foul at the end, which cost us the 3rd goal. He was an 8 apart from that. Great running, great, flick flacks, I think Danny Collins was calling them in the commentary. That was a lovely ball for Charlie Wyke's goal. He's been injured this week. He didn't look like he was injured today. I thought he was excellent. So I've given him a 7.5. Like I said, the half marks taken away for that free kick, to be honest, because I thought it was poor tackle. Right, then now you can finish off the 11 with Charlie Wyke. Another 2 goals for him.
Yeah, I give him a 9. He had a 9 after about 15 minutes, and I just stuck with that because I think, to be honest, he didn't have a bad game. I think he got a bit frustrated in the second half. He maybe wasn't getting the balls in that he was getting in the first half. But to be honest with you, I seen him. He was on the wings a couple of times today. He was tracking back. He seemed to cover a lot more areas today. I don't know. That might just be the way I've interpreted it, but it did look that way. So yeah, I think 2 goals, and he's going to be as frustrated as anybody about the fact that we haven't won that. Because he's done his job and other people haven't done theirs. So I think he's going to be disappointed. But we've like I say, I can't score him lower than that. I thought with the 2 goals we're taking excellently. So yeah, number 9.
No bother. I'll quickly rattle off the subs. Grant Leopard, I've given a 5. Thought he was just a bit slow. Didn't grasp the game as what I thought he was wanting to be. Jack Diamond, I've given him an 8. Thought he was superb when he came on. Great running. Set up the second goal. Probably could have had one himself. And Jordan Jones, I've given a 6. Just didn't see that much of him, to be honest. Ross Stewart also came on, but he was on for about half a second, so we're not going to mark him. So I'll get a man of the match from each of you. Chris, I'll start with you.
Well, just for a first half display, because I thought we went to pieces in the second half, so I gave it a Lyndon Gooch. I thought we should have gotten more off his crosses into the box.
No bother. Niall, Charlie Wyke, I'm guessing.
Yeah, all day long for me. All day long.
Just on Charlie Wyke, now, for me in the second half, I just think in the first half he gave us like an out ball and he dropped deep to pick it up. And I just think in the second half, he just didn't give us that at all. We just couldn't get out. And he just, I thought he was brilliant first half. It was like almost a perfect centre-half performance first half. And then he just disappeared second half. He just, I don't know, he didn't show for it at all.
Aye, but if you seen in the second half, I seen that you were itching to speak. By the way, when I was talking about White, I could see you were wanting to speak. But no, if you seen Accrington, he was doubly marked in the second half. He they put a lot more on him in the second half, Accrington, because obviously they didn't want to be punished again. But no, you're right. He probably could have done more in the second half, but I just think, I think he took his goals excellently, and like I say, I from the way the game ended, I could have done if we'd won the game, it probably would have been someone else. But from the way the game ended, I think he was at least at fault, and he scored 2. So
I will say, just to defend White with the defenders, I thought the referee gave a lot of soft fouls to them. One led to the second goal, which was never. It was a foul for us because the lad handballed it. It was never a foul.
That's a sending off. That's a red card.
That was never a foul. I thought he was a little bit unlucky with that. I kind of agree with both your points, because I didn't think he was as good in the second half, and I had him as a 9, but then dropped down to an 8 just for that. But I thought he was very harshly treated today by the ref. But again, as Chris said, he could probably do a little bit more in that second half.
I don't understand how, when that the referee's bottled that for me. The referee's seen a little niggle in there, so he thought, I'm going to give this a foul rather than having to make the decision, because the referee knows that he's going to have to send him off. He's last man. He's got his hand up. It's a red card.
Bottom line is we need a plan B, I think. That's our bottom line.
Yeah, I agree with that. I said Josh Scammon, by the way, for man of the match, so we're 1 each for that. We've all gone for a different one. We'll go into Lee Johnson then. Mark out of 10 for him. Chris, you can go first.
I've given him a 5 today. I thought he was quite brave with his selection, and I thought it looked like it was like coming off for him. He's starting lineup, but then, what's he doing at half time at the minute? And he needs to find a way to motivate them when we're on top, and come up with a plan that the players know what to do when we're really kind of dominating the side, because we seem to lose the grip of games.
Right, Niall?
I've gone for a 5 as well, but I think I was confused by the selection. McGeady played well, but I didn't understand why he would change. He should have just kept the same 11 that played well at Hull midweek, because we did play well at Hull. And I was a bit confused as to why he's brought McGeady in when he's had a bruised foot, and not just kept Jones where he was. It looks like, I think Johnson loves an impact player by the looks of it, because every week it seems like he's always got a big player on the bench. I think he likes that impact player. I think he likes to bring someone on. But for me, Jones isn't an impact player, because he does better when he starts.
Yeah,
I think the few times we've seen him come off the bench, he doesn't do as well. So
bar Crew, wasn't it? Bar the Crew game, he's probably not done much since he's come on.
So I prefer him starting.
I've gone with a 4. I don't know if this might be harsh or not, but the Jones not starting is baffled us, to be honest. Bringing Gooch off when he's probably our best player has baffled us, and I'm not going to blame too much for the goals we conceded, but at the end of the day, what they're doing in training, and if these goals are getting conceded time and time again, these individual errors are coming time and time again, what they're doing, and for me it's a 4, and the fact we're 2-0 up and concede 2 stupid goals, and then we're 3-2 up and don't win at home. I've given him a 4 for that. And it might be harsh, but I'm rating him because I like him, and I think he's a good manager. I'm rating him that low for that, because I'm just so pissed off that we didn't win. We'll finish there, lads. Hopefully, not just going to get into the playoffs, but hopefully get into the playoffs. It extends our season by at least a couple of more games, so we've got plenty more time to talk. So I bet you're all out with the moon with that. Right, Niall and I, you're itching to go out, so have a good night, mate. Thank you very much.
Cheers, lads. Thank you.
Chris, as always, absolute legend. Thank you so much.
Cheers, lads.
All right, we'll see you down the line at some point. Thank you very much, and you all take care. Bye-bye.